Welcome back, guys. We are going to be right now watching live the announcement of Donald Trump about the capture of the dictator president Maduro and his wife from from Venezuela. I'm just gonna run grab my coffee. This is this is hot stuff happening. I'm just gonna run grab my coffee and I'll be right back. Stay here. We're gonna watch it live together.
Thank you for joining us here on Fox 4. We are awaiting President Trump's comments after early morning
I'll be right back.
strikes in Venezuela. The president said that the strikes had been in the works for days. He'd actually planned to do it about 4 days ago, but the weather prevented him from doing so. In an interview with Fox and Friends this morning, he said that the weather had cleared up and it was the opportune time to carry out these strikes. Several explosions were heard over a 30-minute period in Venezuela.
Crazy, small, tiny studio.
Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, and his wife were captured,
It's like crawling into a tunnel.
according to President Trump. Attorney General Pam Bondi says that President Maduro and his wife will face narco-terrorism charges.
Mm-hmm.
That reflects the language that we've heard from President Trump about the strikes off the coast of Venezuela.
Narco-terrorist.
Several boats being struck in that area. We do have some video from Venezuela overnight. Here you can see some of the explosions.
You guys are hearing this, right?
On Truth Social. Early in the morning,
BE2XX, are you hearing this?
saying the United States of America has successfully carried out a
Lisa?
large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured
Samuel.
and flown out of the
Happy
country.
New Year.
The
Yes, Happy
operation
New Year.
was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement.
Guys, are you hearing this?
Details
Samuel.
to follow.
Thank
There
you.
will be a
Good.
news
Good.
conference
You have a
today
good student in
at
the
11
class.
a.m.
Someone.
Eastern at
Can I have another
Malaga.
confirmation? Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you for your attention to this
VTX,
matter,
Eric,
President
everybody.
Donald
Perfect.
J. Trump. And that is what we're waiting on now.
Unbelievable. Guys, there was
Attorney
a
General Pam
Delta
Bondi
Force raid
Has said that
that went
President
with
Trump has said
helicopters.
that Maduro and his wife
They went with Chinook helicopters and other fighting helicopters and rescue helicopters under the disguise of missiles and Air Force strikes happening. They went in, raided, took him out of his bed with his wife right after he met with the Chinese delegation, which I don't know if that's really related to timing, but
Do you know what you're doing?
at the time.
Do you know what you're doing?
We are standing
Sorry.
by. He's expected to speak any moment, and we'll bring it to you as soon as he does live.
yeah, China and Russia are pissing themselves for sure. They're super upset. See, this is a big strike on the BRICS because it shows that the BRICS is a paper tiger. The BRICS is trying to look like NATO, right? So they're saying we are a coalition, we have our own currency, our own, defense system and agreement. And if someone attacks one of our country, we're gonna go and protect them, blah blah blah. Not as official as NATO, but that's kind of the idea. So if Trump just goes now and just pluck one of the BRICS presidents, dictator, out of his bed, come with us, you're going to jail, you punk. They can't do anything about it. And it shows to the other countries in the BRICS that maybe it's not a good idea to leave Team West, Team NATO, and move to Team China, Russia, Iran, Taliban, Jihadistan, Hamas, Hezbollah, Durka, America. Yeah, you know what I mean. Unbelievable. So, to give you a little bit of update, some of you might be just waking up right now to this crazy news. Delta Force on Chinook helicopters. That's the bigger, like flying dumpster. I have like 2 helicopters. It's actually one of the fastest helicopters and one of the more stable ones. And it can carry a lot of forces. Went in with other attack helicopters and Black Hawks and other Hueys. I don't know if there was any Hueys there. And Air Force hitting and softing kind of targets on the ground. Came to the compound, probably rappelled down, raided. I don't know exactly if they took the guards. Were there any gunfire shot? From the picture, you can see a lot of explosions happening all around. It was like a Sayeret Matkal Antebe kind of operation. Went in, grabbed him and his wife, and took him back to America to face justice and allegations for narco, drug, terrorism, and you name it, basically dictatorism. Any allegations that this guy have been doing now, obviously, there is more to that than just bringing fentanyl into the United States. A lot of it regarding Russia and China and other allies of the United States, and it's sending a very clear message here. But just that raid, I can't wait to hear about what happened in that raid. As someone who came from the special forces in the IDF, I find this to be fascinating. And you know what? Thank you so much, BT2, like R2D2, BT2XX. That's very kind of you. We're moving closer towards the $7,000 a month that I was promised by BB. So thank God there is followers here that help kind of fill that gap. So Delta Force was immediately the first thing that came to my mind. You know, you can come and say, maybe it's the Green Berets, maybe it's the Navy SEALs, and these teams are very qualified, undoubtedly, Team 6 and etc. But you see, Green Berets will be more for military-related missions behind enemy lines, also to go and train forces or go and sabotage, destroy something deep in behind enemy lines, and etc. Navy SEALs will be something similar to that, also with naval capabilities and assassination capabilities. Undoubtedly, both units can do that. But Delta Force will, without no doubt, be the first pick that will come to my mind for these kind of operations. First of all, they're very good regarding to South America, fighting communism. That was like literally their bread and butter. And also, they have very trained operators that actually came from the Navy SEALs and from the Green Berets and others. So it's a much more mature unit, I would say. When you see interviews with some of their soldiers, and I've trained with some soldiers from that, and I've seen them, and all are super impressive. But you can see a little bit more maturity level, and they're usually also a little bit older with age. And I think that is very important for these kind of co-op operations. They work a lot with the CIA. This is undoubtedly smells everything about the CIA. Was probably there on the ground telling them, okay, he's done with the Chinese. Okay,
Welcome back
these
to
are out
Fox
of the
4.
picture. Now you can go and do it, because it was happened
We are
right
awaiting
after
President Donald Trump to address the strike on Venezuela
Maduro
that was
met
carried out early
with
this
the
morning.
Chinese
You can see the press corps there,
official
waiting in
delegations there.
Mar-a-Lago for the president.
One of them was a high
He
up,
did
in
speak
charge of
to Fox and
China with
Friends
relation to Latin
this
America.
morning. I do want to play a short clip from that conversation. It was a wide-ranging conversation that the president had this morning with Fox News Channel. Some of the information that we expect to be talked about in this news conference was addressed by the president in this phone conversation. So go ahead and take a listen to what the president had to say.
Why did you make the decision to take out Maduro this morning? And what was Maduro doing when our guys came in on him?
So we were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect. And we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden it opened up and we said go. And I'll tell you, it was just amazing. And what was he doing? He was in a very highly guarded, like a fortress, actually. He was in a fortress. That we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because
watching porn on a toilet seat. That's what he was doing when he was caught.
And they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that
Sorry,
we
I
had
had to
nobody
say that.
killed, that we lost no aircraft. Everything came back. We got it all back. One of them was hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back. But it just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a war. We're losing 300,000 people a year. We don't lose that much in a war, okay, if you look. And we had to do it.
President Trump there in the
Woo-hoo!
talk of the fatalities, referring to drugs that he believes have been trafficked from Venezuela into the U.S. You also heard him there talk a little bit about that it is believed that no U.S. forces were killed, though few were hit. No aircrafts were lost in this strike. In the video that we have, law enforcement experts, military experts, I should say, said that, a lot of times when you see these strikes, you see counter measures taken by the countries that are being struck. It says that all you see there is the delivery of United States bombs from the United States onto
Venezuela
Venezuela.
can do nothing. They can do nothing.
Showing
That's a big
the
message
country
for
may be taken off
Nigeria now,
guard by these strikes.
With that
It
guy
was
from
very
Nigeria.
early in the morning.
The
When twice you
mosquitoes.
heard the president say that they'd been planning to do
soldiers,
this for 4
mosquitoes.
days, but the weather had not been quite right. And now we await the president's remarks. He did hold off in that Fox and Friends interview from some of the details of the strikes, saying that he would address it later
For
today. We
sure.
were expecting him to
Alexandria
speak
Ocasio-Cortez and Mamdani.
10 o'clock
Hello,
Central Time.
Mamdani.
That
Not
time
happy
has
with
come
him.
and passed. We are working on
Undoubtedly. They like
politics
communists.
time,
They like
which
evil
always
machines.
tends to be
They're not
delayed.
good people.
Obviously, a lot of information to go over
did a
in
good
this
job. You did a good
situation,
job.
and you do want to get all of this information right.
Woo!
So President Trump here
Citizens
expected to
there
speak
in
any moment. We'll
Venezuela.
bring
I
it to you
hope-
live
Is there
here
someone from
on
Venezuela
Fox
here?
4 as soon as it happens.
Anyone from Venezuela in the crowd here? We would like to hear from you. How do you feel about this? Let me tell you a story of a friend of mine that was a captain on a ship and also lived in Venezuela. He had to flee Venezuela and move to a Western country because it was getting too much. Every time he'll come back to Venezuela, he told me that he would go to the supermarket with a rugged, broken kind of Subaru car and shirt with holes in it, because he said if you're seen walking in the street with a watch, someone will shoot you and kill you to take your watch. He said one time he went shopping with a normal car and a normal family, just dressed for a weekend. They went kind of to the mall and they got robbed 4 times on the way to the mall and twice on the way back. On the way back already, when they were in the parking lot, someone just put a pistol into his window and a few other around the car. Give me everything you got. And he's like, buddy, I have nothing left. I was already robbed 4 times. And then on the way in a traffic light, he got stuck in the traffic light again. Someone put a pistol to his head, give me everything. He's like, I literally have nothing. Like, look, they took my watch, took my rings, took everything. And that's when he realized he needs to leave Venezuela because it became an unsafe place for its own citizens. One of the most beautiful countries on the face of this earth have become tragically a piggy bank for dictatorship regimes and evil communist regimes around the world and jihadists and terrorists, where the president there is basically stealing all the money from his people, giving it to a selected familia around him, and selling all the wealth of that country to evil countries around, while the people there are just suffering. Insane. The inflation there is crazy. I couldn't believe the price of toilet papers and tuna cans. I don't remember the number. It was something that you can't even afford anymore. And you ask yourself, how can one of the most richest, most blessed country on the face of this earth, in terms of natural resources, everything, beauty, climate, people, how can they be so poor? And well, communism. Welcome to communism, guys. Welcome to all these socialism, communism, all these isms out there. That's how it looks. That's how it looks. Unbelievable. Very poor reality. Very dear friend of mine. I met him. He was always with his wife and his kid with us on the ship, and his 2 kids, and they would dress like captains like him. It was the cutest thing ever. He gave me the idea to actually make a tailor-made captain costume to my kid. If you're watching this, you know who you are. I'm happy for you guys. Hope for better outcome for Venezuela. That's what's happening in New York, guys. What are we doing with the millions of barrels of oil we seized? Well, I'm sure someone's going to blame Israel for that. I'm just waiting. So, yeah. So, to recap, guys, Delta Force came in the middle of the night, allegedly Delta Force, with helicopters, landed covered by all kind of, fire from the heavens that was raining down on Venezuela, probably to soften targets. And most likely, even from my experience, these kind of airstrike support, it's not just to make boom, boom, flashy, flashy. It's probably to target military barracks around and also to shoot junctions and streets. You want to create a safe space for your unit to operate. That's the idea when you have these kind of raids behind enemy lines for hostage rescue or for extraction of high profile targets. So what you do is you understand the map, you understand the location, you understand which reinforcement teams they have, which quick response, close circle security around him, medium circle, longer area, and who can respond come. And also you want to have your way in and your way out clear, and you want to clear the area where you're going to operate so the professionals can go and do the job properly. So most likely these attacks that you're seeing there are also to create a distraction and diversion, to have everybody right now put their heads down. So people not coming in the streets right now, or even forces are running, they're being shelled. People have the instinct right now to run into their bedrooms, bunkers, bomb shelters, and etc. And also to make sure that reinforcements won't come in case your forces will end up facing a resistance there and the operation will take longer. You don't want them stuck in a Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu Blues kind of situation. You want them to be able to fight off the situation, take it out, and go out of there as fast as possible. And also give them some time to take equipment, take documents, take phones, smartphones. Imagine this is big. This is big, 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 big. CIA. Undoubtedly, there was a few CIA agents there with the vest and everything going around, taking computers, taking laptops. That's a Chinese, security. That's for the Russians. What's the name of the spies from Russia and other countries? China, Hezbollah, Hamas, and all these ones operating there. Iran, because they were freely operating there, by the way. So undoubtedly, you want to create the safest working environment for the professionals so they can go. I used to be in a team that would do similar stuff like that, call them the professionals, very professional elite unit that was designed to do a very specific role. And you want to create the safety environment for that. So usually you will have also other units involved, other recon units, ghost recon like units that will go and secure the perimeter. In Israel, when we have operations like that, let's say Yamam or Sayeret Matkal will be doing that, okay? Or Kidon, the Mossad special unit will be doing a raid like that. Often you'll
This is Fox
have
4 News.
Navy SEALs,
We're
Shayet
continuing to
Rosh,
wait for
Shaldag, and
President
other units covering the
is
perimeter
expected
for
to
them, or even
remarks
taking other targets. They might actually end up being
large-scale
fighting
strike
more than
on
them
Venezuela that happened in the early
combat
morning
wise,
hours.
but it's to clear
We
the
went to
area that you
President's
want to
post
operate in, either
from early this
diversion or
morning.
to be
The
able
United
to
States of America has
ambush.
successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. Eastern at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. We are still waiting for President Trump to arrive. You're looking at video there in the past of Nicolas Maduro. He and his wife reportedly captured. President Trump saying that the pair would be taken to New York, where they are to face narco-terrorism charges among a slew of others.
Yeah.
President Trump is expected to release more details about the operation, about the status of Maduro at this news conference that we continue to wait upon. It is now 25 minutes past
In New
the
York,
believed
this is
start
going to be
time.
insane.
We will bring it to you live as it
In
happens.
New York, guys, you're going to have Mamdani and his people standing there and probably demonstrating against this. This is gonna be a show. You're gonna have the mayor. Oh, that's like rub it in your face. Hey, Mamdani, you're communist. I brought you your buddy friend communist from the cartel. Let's have him stand for a trial in your city. Oh my goodness. This is insane. This is insane. In New York, out of all places. I mean, I'm sure there's other reasons for that. Woo! That is gonna be crazy. So there was this Bondi guy that made, the allegation to clearly declare Maduro as a terrorist, running a terrorist organization and running a cartel organization and fall under all these laws by America, which allowed them. See, that was when we started talking in the beginning. Remember, there was videos going around. I love these videos. We're saying, just wait until Trump will declare the cartels are a terrorist organization. Then you're going to have the Delta Force going for them. And that changes all the game, guys. That changes all the games. Once you have these big guns, I'm telling you, seriously, it is hard to stand against powers and forces like Delta Force, like Navy SEALs, شهادة الأسرة, سيارة متكال, شلداج, يمام, these units. You don't want them as your enemies in Mossad. You don't want to fall under their radar. I remember one time I was doing something pretty good in Africa, honestly pretty good. And I talked to a friend of mine, and he told me, listen, man, you need to run this with the Mossad. I won't tell you too much, but he said, you don't want them to find you running between their legs. And you don't want to end up as an enemy to the Mossad. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to end up as an enemy to the Mossad. But I completely understand that point.
This
You
is
don't
Fox
want to
4.
end up running between
Checking
their
back
legs.
in
Because these organizations, they take no prisoners.
as we await the president to
Woo!
speak
CIA,
about
Delta Force,
largest CEO
well
strike on
done.
Venezuela
Well
overnight.
done.
We do want to say that President Trump just posted a photo that we do want to share you. This was on Truth Social. The photo showing Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima. We'll go and bring that right back up for you here.
Oh, wow.
There we are. You can
Blindfolded,
see Maduro
handcuffed.
appears to be blindfolded, holding a bottle of water.
Nobody cares about the bottle of water, man. Come on.
It's tough to see there. It looks
Handcuffed.
like he may
Say
be
handcuffed.
wearing handcuffs,
Yeah.
potentially.
Finally. Oh, gosh.
It does appear to be the case. Again, this was posted 2 minutes ago by President Trump.
It takes 1 second to
Social,
realize that. Who's this
saying
guy? Fox.
It
Okay.
is Nicolas Maduro on board the USS
Blindfolded,
Iwo Jima.
handcuffed. Where's his wife?
We are awaiting the president. He is expected to speak any moment now from Mar-a-Lago. It's tough to tell. President Trump says this picture is taken on board the USS Iwo Jima. We will do some research to find out
Wow,
where
this is
exactly
gonna
that
be
ship is at this
crazy.
moment.
You know what? I made
He
on a
did
live
say
video,
in his
I said,
comments
one of my live videos,
earlier,
I said that
that
my hope,
he
my New
planned
Year's
to
resolution,
have
my hope for
Maduro in
2026 is this: the 2026 will be the year of the fall of dictators. I
police
said that, I
charges
think
in New
yesterday
York.
or the day before.
Attorney
The
General
fall
Pamela
of dictators.
has
We have
released
Maduro now. Iran is almost falling right now. This is going to be insane.
the
2026
indictment against Maduro
will be the year of the
with
fall of
narco-terrorism
dictators.
charges.
Chinese calendar is going to have to make another year. Year of a snake, year of the
Maduro, in
frog, year
addition
of a
to
rat,
weapons
year
and
of the
many
fall of the
others,
dictators.
President Trump and other members of the
I came out like
Trump
African.
administration have
Khomeini.
repeatedly called
Who's
the
next?
narco-terrorism as one of the reasons for strikes
Write it down in the
off
comments.
the coast of Venezuela.
Who do you think is
on
going to be the
several
next
boats,
dictator to
saying that
fall?
they
We have a time
were
frame. Like
alleged
until Donald
drug
Trump is out of
smuggling
office,
boats.
that's a good time for
Several
dictators to
occasions.
fall.
We are waiting for the president.
Once he's out of office, if the left
we'll bring this to
Democrats
you
will
as
be
soon as he
elected
comes
again,
out here.
dictators
Again,
will
we'll
rise, get
continue to monitor
sponsorship,
the
and get
president's
like
social media as
amnesty
well.
from the
He appears to be
U.S.
posting.
Sad to say, but this is really what is happening.
So if there are any
But while he
updates
is in power,
prior to the president going
looks
to
like
take the
dictators
podium,
are
we will
falling,
bring them
bad guys
to
are
you
suffering.
there
It's
as
not
well.
fun. Not fun to be a bad guy when Donald Trump is a leader. Nigeria, listen. Sudan, listen. Iran, listen. Start listening, guys. It's not fun to be a dictator when Uncle Donald, thank you for the matter, for the attention on this matter, is in office. It's not fun to be a dictator when Israel having the full backing to act freely against terrorism. It is bad time. But that's, I've seen that pattern maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I remember I was looking at it one day. It says every time, imagine you're playing a game, it's like Monopoly, and you have World War III, complete catastrophe, apocalypse at the end. Every time America is run by Democrats, it started with Obama. That's when it really started happening. The world take 2 steps towards an apocalypse, civil unrest, and like terrorism, global scale. every time the Republicans take office, the world either stay in one place or take one step back. So we're still progressing towards an inevitable apocalypse. I think that's why I do recommend that you have Plan B and Plan C and Plan D. You don't want to end up in the apocalypse movie as the couple who's sitting in a car as skeletons like this, and then the heroes walk, open the door, push you, and take a bottle of water and keep walking. You don't want to have this in your credit scene. You want to be actually the hero that survives the apocalypse. So have Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. But either way, it looks to me that every time Democrats have been elected since Obama, we are getting closer to an apocalypse. And the bad guys are getting stronger and more bold. And every time the Republicans, the conservatives, take power, well, if they have a strong leader, world chaos calms down. Russia doesn't invade Ukraine. She already did it under Biden. Look at that. Obama got elected. ISIS went, skyrocketing. The Middle East started falling. Russia invaded Ukraine. All kind of war stopping happening. Trump came, radio silence. North Korea out of nowhere, peace. Trump get, taken down from office, and then you have Biden again, Hamas, October 7th, the whole Middle East breaks into like flames. Russia invades Ukraine again, whole scale. China almost invade Taiwan. Europe is panicking right now, thinking Russia is going to invade them. Donald Trump comes to power, boom, calms down again. So you can see, and I'm not here trying to advocate for Donald Trump or for anyone here. I'm just saying you can see a clear pattern of the importance of power and respect. I talk about it all the time in the Middle East. It's not only Middle East, guys, it's humans. Power and respect is the greatest deterrence for violence. When we were doing the training for hostage rescue, one of the ideas was you want to have maximum barrels for maximum entries in minimal time. That's like the idea. Maximum barrels, maximum holes, minimum time. And the idea was you want to overwhelm the enemy with overwhelming power in an overwhelming minimal time. And when you do that, you end up having less violence used. So when you use more power, you end up using less power. Same thing if you're walking in the street and someone comes and start want to fight with you. If he perceive you as weak, even if you're very strong, you can be a Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Chuck Norris. But if he thinks that you're weak, he will jump and start fighting with you, and then you start rolling on the ground, biting each other, poking each other's eyes, screaming, I don't know what, hitting each other with all kind of stuff. And maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose. But if he sees you walking with 5 guys, all looking serious, all looking like you know how to handle yourself, he's probably going to say, nah, I'm not fighting them. I'm not fighting them. Even if you come and approach a guy like that, he will come and say, you know what? Listen, here, take back what I stole. I don't want trouble. So often by using more power, you end up using less violence. And I think Donald Trump is showing that peace through strength. That's the whole idea of peace through strength. And he's definitely showing that to the world, because have no doubt, there is forces in the world that want to challenge the reigning champion of planet Earth right now, which is America. They're literally the strongest, most important country on the face of this planet, at least in the West. And if it wasn't for America, we'll be living under Nazi regime right now, communist regime, jihadist regime, all kind of evil regimes. So thanks to America, we are living in a different world. Undoubtedly. No one can argue that. No one can argue that fact. That fact, even an alien who will land on the moon right now, open a tablet, he will realize very fast, okay, whoa, there was dark forces about to take planet Earth, and then America came and basically saved everybody. Churchill, held the line for a very long time, and then America came and saved everybody. And then you also say, like, why do everybody hate Israel? Israel must be the biggest, most vicious country in the world. Look, the UN have so many resolutions about Israel. Everybody want to complain about Israel. They must be the final boss of planet Earth. And then comes like, whoa, this tiny nation that have more Nobel Prize than all of them, that have invented so many startups and medicine stuff that actually are making life better. How come they're considered the evil ones? I think it'll be a really fun show to have a reality show of an alien landing on the moon and trying to understand planet Earth. It'll be hilarious. So, anyway,
This is Fox 4.
this guy again.
Again, we are waiting on President Trump to discuss the large-scale strike on Venezuela in the early morning hours. we do now have
For those who came, this is a live
a
stream
photo
from the
posted by the
announcement.
president of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. This was posted to Truth Social less than 15 minutes ago. It says Maduro is aboard the USS Iwo Jima.
Ooh.
The U.S. carried out a strike on Venezuela in the early morning hours, capturing Maduro and his wife. Maduro is expected to face several charges in the U.S., including narco-terrorism charges and weapons charges.
Narco-terrorism.
In the photo here, you can see he's wearing ear coverings. He has
Blindfolded
blindfold
handcuffs.
over him. It
Don't mention the
appears
bottle.
He may have handcuffs on.
You can see that, you numbskull.
Does have a bottle of water as
Who
well.
cares about the bottle of water?
President Trump did talk a little bit this morning about the strike. He was on Fox and Friends, called into Fox News Channel's Fox and Friends. We do want to play out a little bit of his comments from earlier this morning.
Why did you make the decision to take out Maduro this morning? And what was Maduro doing when our guys came in on him?
On the toilet watching porn.
We were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect. And we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden it opened up and we said go. And I'll tell you, it was just amazing. And what was he doing? He was in a very highly guarded, like a fortress, actually. He was in a fortress. That we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because a couple of guys were hit, but they came back and they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that we had nobody killed, that we
A couple guys were
lost
hit
no
from the
aircraft,
U.S. side
everything
or from
came back. We got it
the
all back. One of
Venezuelan
them was
side?
hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back.
Interesting.
It just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a
Here comes
Here we
President
go. Here we go.
Trump.
Guys, this is a live stream. First time that I'm doing a
Thank you
live
very much.
stream.
This is big stuff.
You hear it, right? Please tell me you hear it.
Appreciate you being here.
Thumbs. You hear him?
Late last night
Anyone?
and
Do you hear
early
Trump?
today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
Like
And
an
if you think
average
about
operation for the idea.
There's some other good ones, like the
I'm kidding. It's a good one.
attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites
Thank
just
you, Israel.
recently
Thank you, Israel. Thank you, Mossad. Take the
in
credit.
an
It's fine.
operation known as Midnight Hammer.
Midnight Uberhammer, I call it. But it's
all
fine. I like
perfectly
it that they
executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time.
That's true. That's true.
All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea. We're just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position, but they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to
Please,
see.
please.
Not
show
a
us
single
the
American
body.
service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far.
True.
With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela.
Ooh-ah.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious
What?
because that's what we're all about.
America is
We
gonna
want peace,
run
liberty, and
Venezuela?
justice for the great people of Venezuela. And that includes many from Venezuela that are now
Woo!
living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland.
Wow. I think Venezuela.
We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen.
Israel, learn. Israel, learn.
We're
Look,
there now.
you can do that to Gaza.
And
They
what
just did
people
it to
don't
Venezuela.
understand,
like
but
that.
they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a
My
proper
God.
transition can take place.
They just made Venezuela
As
another
everyone
U.S.
knows,
state.
the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust for a long period of time. They were
Oh
pumping
my
almost
God.
nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world,
Of course.
go in, spend billions of dollars,
God.
fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are
Wow.
ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans. Hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship. They'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made,
Wow.
I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida.
Never a dull
But
moment
we
with
have
this guy.
people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over, in particular, the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going, they're walking their daughters, they're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. Been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. We've just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm actually
And,
invited to speak in Tennessee.
The governor of
next month.
Louisiana called, great
That's good. Okay.
person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana. And we have done that. And it was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing. And we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there. When they need us, we'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that
Tell us more
if
about
the federal
Delta
government
Force.
didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles.
Tell us more
That's
about
after,
Delta
long
Force.
after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Tren de Aragua. And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people. And now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years, I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan
Can he do a
terrorist
job on Starmer
organization.
as well?
Really one of the worst. One of the worst. They say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungari. What happened to her?
What a crazy.
As you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States, but no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away.
America just took
We built
over
Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill. And the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it.
Imagine if Trump
America will
was the president
never
of
allow
Israel,
foreign
Israel would have
powers to
taken
rob
Gaza
our
long
people
ago.
or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power. And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free.
Wow.
America is a safer nation. This morning, it's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice.
Show us the
And I'm
videos.
very
We want
proud
to
of
see
him, and
the
I'm very
helmet
proud of
cam.
our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Come on, we want to see the video. If you're not going to show us the video,
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the president said, words can barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation, a massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry, and glory of the American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such men. And I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raisin Kane, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America. And again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close,
sorry.
could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve, the most powerful combination the world has ever seen. As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't.
Listen to this,
He effed
Iran.
around and he found out.
Yeah. F
President
around and
Trump is
find out.
deadly serious
Awful.
about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first. This is peace through strength. And the United
Exactly.
States War
Peace
Department
through strength, power and
proud
respect.
to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026. And under President Trump, America is back. I'd like to welcome now our chairman,
This
Raising
guy's
Cane,
good for
to give
TikTok
a few
videos.
more
I thought he's
details
gonna
about
say
the
welcome to America. Mother oop.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you,
He's
Mr.
a really
President,
cool general.
and good morning.
He has
Last
really
night,
cool
on the
speeches.
order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal,
Wow.
an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake.
Come on.
What I'd like to
Come
do
on,
this
Israel
morning is
can do
talk to you
this.
through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited,
Sure.
we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise,
For
it
sure.
involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination,
Wow.
all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose, to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets. In early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel. So as the president said, they could be brought to justice.
They
And
probably
as the
use
president
Israeli
said
technology,
earlier
let's be
today,
honest.
weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
Ooh, wow.
Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49.
That's impressive.
And
that
there's
he knows
simply
that.
no match for American military might.
That's impressive that
As
he
the
knows
night
that.
began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement
Yeah,
officers,
150
and
in the
began
air.
their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones.
That's what they
As the
brought
force
for him?
began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters
Respect.
into the target area. The goal of our air component is, was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force and self-defense.
Wow. I saw that video.
One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable. And as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission.
Wow.
As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela.
Wow.
The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness,
Come on, give us a killer
prepared
speech.
to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region.
Give
This
us a killer
operation
speech.
is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Good. Not as good as the last speech
Well,
that
I
you
don't have
gave
much
about.
to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
Sure.
yeah, exactly. But
Don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple
dismissed?
opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that, I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Is that a message for Cuba? Mr. President.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President.
America taking Venezuela. Ask him about
The
that.
U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
but we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Wow.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So, thing about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
Yes. It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Wow.
That would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. You know, I talk about a dead country.
Rubio,
A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Rubio would be.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship
Well,
going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He just had a conversation with her.
Marco Rubio is going
And
to be
she's
the next
essentially
president
willing
of
to do
Venezuela.
what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass.
can't make this
And
up.
today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So
This is the
what
best
your
live
message is.
show
Well, he
ever.
has cocaine
streamed.
mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States.
No
So
filters.
he does have to watch his
no
ass.
filters.
Rubio.
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that
Next
you can do
president
congressional notification
of
on. It was
Venezuela.
a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result.
The mic on
But
the
I have to say, they knew we
Congress.
were coming at some point. You know, we had a lot
the
of ships
Commons.
out there. They sort of knew we were coming. We wanted to. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered
Watching
what I assume
porn
would be
on the
his home? And
toilet
also, was
seat.
there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something.
That
It was a
must
lot
have
of
been
opposition.
one
There was a
operation.
lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in
Delta Force,
about
Delta
47,
Force, Delta
I think
Force.
47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
Wow. That would have complicated
Go ahead,
operation for
Where is
sure.
Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me,
that
though.
weigh on your decision?
Well, that's why we
making?
had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
President, how long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. Can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and the
China
drugs?
and Russia,
Who brought the press?
Russia,
They're
when
asking
we
good questions.
get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them.
Did someone
In
not
other words,
allow
we'll be selling
CNN
oil,
in the room? Like everybody's asking
probably
good
in much
questions.
larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying, Mr. President, are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of
That
Venezuela?
you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches
Walmart.
that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you.
Walmart.
You're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going
Buy
to have
toilet
potentially
paper.
a great country. You know, if you go back 20
I know.
years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country and they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened.
Wow.
Had we lost the election, the 2024 election, we suffered so badly. When you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms. I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids. And that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military
They're going
troops
to be a
to provide?
team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is
Green
nobody
Berets
to
are going to
take
be there
over.
for sure.
You
Green
have
Berets,
a vice
Rangers,
president who's been appointed by Maduro.
Marines.
And right now
No,
she's
they're
the
not
vice
subtle.
president.
Marines are not
And
subtle.
she's, I
You don't
guess,
want to
the
send them there.
president. She was sworn as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, "We'll do whatever you need." I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back.
He's so right.
We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world going and invest
Haters
billions
will
and
hate,
billions
but
of
he's so
dollars
right about this.
and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States, and frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
What's being done to protect Americans in the country, and were any of the detained Americans?
Well, right now they're
arrested
very
last night?
protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
Are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them, and they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago. Okay, wait, behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think
What a
it
dumb
is because
question.
we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want
That's
to
a dumb
surround ourselves
question.
with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves.
Any,
We
that's
need
the
that
most
for the
America
world.
first.
And we want to make sure we can protect it. Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba,
Cuba are
but
sweating.
we want
The
to
government is
also
like,
help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco?
oh my God.
I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. So suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all of the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
Wow.
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So
We're just
that's
going to invade Cuba next.
The answer is yes.
Cuba are
Yes.
what?
The location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr.
President,
President,
do you have any hesitations about Machado? as a
Mr.
House leader?
President, on Monday,
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the
Mr.
leader.
President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is
It
very
will give you
substantial, so it's
money.
not
It
going to
will not
cost us
cost you
anything.
money. That's-
We will.
That's the whole idea.
Well, we want safety there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That's what was happening, and you don't want to have that. But we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get
Not
reimbursed
just
for all
this.
of that. We're going to get
Others
reimbursed for
think it-
everything that we spend. So it's going to be it's going to be a very important. It's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look, it was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year is going to be a great thing. And the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Mr. President, going to send in the U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't want to
at
get
war
into
with
the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him. And I said,
Wow.
you got to surrender. And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did. Yeah.
Wow.
You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are
Well,
different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
You referenced boots on the ground earlier. Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that
Well,
country?
no, we're going to have a presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in. So you may need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr.
Unless it's a
President.
bad question, in
It's
which
about
case I'll
Putin.
go one word. It's about who?
It's about Putin, if you want.
About Putin. Well, that's always nice
You had
to
a
talk
phone.
about Putin.
You had a phone call with him
Yeah.
on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then-
never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin.
Whoa.
He's killing too many people.
There was that
I
intelligence.
thought that would be so. I settled 8 1/4 war. You know what the 1/4 was? Thailand and Cambodia. I did it again. They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours, and I settled it. I'm giving myself 1/4, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out. They had a pretty bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace. So I only give 1/4. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not. And they both have done some pretty bad things. And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives. Did you see where last month, 30,000, it was 27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5% instead of the 2% that they weren't paying. They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions. We send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money on that. It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings that come from 2 places that are very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at doing, deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities throughout, a much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress, but that's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, it would have never happened. Putin says it. Everybody says it. If I were president, that would have never happened. But I inherited that war. That was Joe Biden, Zelensky, and Putin. I came into the situation, and it's a mess. And I will say this. I watched an operation last night that was so precise, that was so brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. If we had our people, like this general and our people involved, that war would not have gone on very long, that I can tell you.
We want to
That war,
watch
to
the
use an
body
old
cam.
term, that war has become a bloodbath, and we want it to get stopped. Thank you very much.
Are you concerned a rogue Venezuelan general can take over the country?
Your conversation with the Vice President.
There's President Trump leaving after discussing the military operation in Venezuela. President Trump says the United States will take over Venezuela for the time being until they believe that there is a group who is capable of running the country. We'll have plenty more on Fox 4 News today, and as we go through the weekend.
Wow. This is insane, guys. This is insane in the membrane. We're talking about America not only arresting Maduro during the night and his wife in an epic Delta Force raid behind enemy lines, helicopter flying. Apparently, he was running to the safe. So I guess when they broke in, his guards probably tried to resist. You know, maybe they blew up the door, there was explosions. So people woke up and started running, and he knew the drill. So he ran to his safe room, which is probably, like he said, like a very fortified kind of barricaded bank door that once he's inside, he have comms, he have food, he have, air system ventilation and etc. And he can stay there for a long time for his forces to come and try to rescue him. That would have really highly complicated the operation, because then they're going to have to like keep bombing everything around and keep that area sterile, and the Delta Force was going to end up starting welding. And I'm sure they had a plan B for that. If the CIA did a proper job like the Mossad usually does, they probably got all the information also for that, maybe even knew the code combination, or I don't know what, some ways to open that. But he was caught on the way. So I'm just imagining that someone just ran to him and just smashed him into the wall, or grabbed him, or maybe shot him with a shotgun with a salt. He didn't look wounded, but you can shoot with a shotgun these salt bags that will just hit you and like bruise you really hard and you'll fall. But I don't think they did that. I think maybe someone lassoed him. Long story short, he was caught running to the door. Wow, insane. I tell you what, there might be a few things happening behind the scenes that no one is talking about. This could have been actually orchestrated and staged. He can have said, listen, I will surrender, but you got to make it look like you kidnapped me. Otherwise, the Russians and Chinese will kill me. And then you give me a safety amnesty place in a kind of high guarded prison in the US. I'll give you Venezuela, I'll give you the oil, and I would live, kind of fade into the horizon in some kind of remote with a fake identity, and maybe his mentally ill kind of doppelganger, or how we call it, he's like the one that the clone is right now sitting in jail drooling, and he's somewhere. CIA espionage, they can do a lot of crazy stuff. But I don't think it was staged. I mean, you never know. You never know what happened behind the scene. But flawlessly executed. Delta Force went in, went out, grabbed him, brought him to the US. And America is taking Venezuela right now. I did not see that coming. Like, if Trump was the president of Israel, Gaza would be right now Israeli. Gaza would be under Israel, and the Palestinians would be living among their jihadist land barbaric neighbors like Syria and others. They'll be living among people that think like them, and Gaza would have became a Riviera long ago. He just went and took. And here's the thing, like, yeah, people protested, like people demonstrated. That shows you anti-Semitism. Just shows you how deep anti-Semitism is. Israel goes to try to defend itself and bring back its hostage and citizens. Everybody go ballistic. America just literally went, invaded another country, took their president, and then came and said, "We own this country. It's ours. Your oil is ours, and we're gonna run it." And we were like, "Yeah, I don't know, yeah." Crazy, right? Again, if you ask me, most countries in Central America will benefit from being run by America. Let's be honest about it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? People like to hate for free. If you're Venezuela right now and you get America to start running the show for you, it means that you're going to have better economy, better job, better security, better opportunity for your children, for education, like everything better. Everything better. So in so many ways, that's like becoming an adopted son of America, where the adopting family have some interest, undoubtedly, but they're good family. That's insane. Like I think probably maybe even more countries now will start saying, "Please come and take us." Like you start hearing Cuba right now, Cubans going and saying, "America, invade us, invade us. We want Walmart too. We want Walmart as well." Woo! Wow, wow, wow. What did we just watch? Yeah, the US will be in 2 continents. Exactly. I made a poll here, and I said, should America take over Venezuela and make it part of America? And 32% said yes, 68% said no. I'm gonna try a new feature here. I never tried this. Start a question and answers. Ask anything. Ask any. German keyboards. In Germany, the Z is a Y. Let's see. Ask anything. How does that work? So I made a question and answers, and I want to see if people have questions and answers, and we can answer them regarding the operation, what we just saw right now. It's a nice experiment. Let's see. So if you ask, will the question jump right on the screen? Or do I need to approve it? Cool stuff. Should America free Russia? Absolutely. I think that would be a great thing for Russia. Here's the thing. So if it's a Christian nation, then they have similar values to America in one way or another. People don't like to admit it, but the West is Christian. It's built on Judeo-Christian values. The East is not Christian. Russia is not. Communism is not Christian. And Jihad, Islam is not Christian. So let's say if that would have been attempted to do it to Gaza, it would not really work, because the problem is not the leadership in Gaza. The problem is the Gazans. Same thing with Syria. The problem is not just Ahmed al-Shara. He's probably the more moderate terrorist there. The problem is the Syrian people. In Russia, I think a big part of the problem is the mentality of the Russian people there. Because, I mean, with all due respect, and I have great Russian friends, how long can you justify to yourself that you are really fighting Nazis in Ukraine? Seriously, guys. You see big, heavy ballistic missiles flying in drones into buildings and kindergartens and schools that did not hold Ukrainian soldiers or bases in them. Like, in Gaza, it's clear they were literally using the people as human shields. Ukraine is not. So how long can Russians justify themselves that this is right? And apparently there's a majority of people that support that in Russia. Now, yes, there's heavy, heavy ban on media and on information in Russia. So many of them are believing that they're fighting the good war. And a lot of the soldiers are being sent from rural areas, in faraway places, and they never really come back home, while the people in Moscow are just dancing. And I saw this crazy video where you see like a bunch of soldiers sitting in a bus station waiting for the bus in the cold. And the video was filmed inside from some kind of cocktail, frat party. And you see like models and young Russian men, just all dressed fashionably, probably children of oligarchs dancing. So that's reality in Russia. So I think in Russia, there is a serious problem also coming from the brainwashing of the people itself. Not as bad as Islam, because they're still closer to Christianity and Western values, but still. Let's see if there's any question. Nope, nobody asked. Do you see the question mark that I just put here? I put like ask a question. Like, can you guys see that even? I'm doing a test here. Okay, people are just asking it here. You want to ask how tall he is? Maybe I can help you. Who do you want to know how tall he is? Do you think the Abraham Accords will expand when the Iranian regime fall? Probably yes and probably no, because the problem is underneath the surface is with the religion of Islam. So the Abraham Accord is a nice, cute step towards a more stable Middle East, but still that stability is held there by power and respect because Israel is stronger and we don't let anyone else come and mess with us. So when Israel will ever become weaker, they will undoubtedly abandon the Abraham Accord and take advantage and try to conquer it. That's not real peace. That's not real everlasting peace. That's not like the kind of peace that you see between Germany and Holland, for example, or Norway and Finland, where none of them is interested in invading one another. In the Middle East, there's a religious war. People forget that. It's a religious war that has been going for a very, very long time. And just because some Samantha and John woke up today and they want to ignore history because they don't like facts in history, it doesn't change the fact on the ground that it is a religious war, and Abraham Accord or not, the problem still lays with the religion of Islam wanting to dominate the world, and with that you can't really coexist. You can just postpone the inevitable, which is an all-out religious total war that will come one day, want it or not. The only way to avoid it is to make them stop following Islam, or at least in the current version of Islam as they follow it today, which is making a big referenda into Islam. That is almost impossible because Islam did that to itself by making itself immune to utter criticism and categorizing anyone that dared to criticize Islam as a kuffar and valid to be sentenced to death by Islam. That did happen after Islam tried to enter the big leagues and go and have debates between the Jews and the Christians, as they used to do for a very long time, but it got heavily, heavily humiliated. That's during the time of the expanding of the Muslim empire. So they said, let's join the big leagues. The Jews and the Christians, they always try to debate and argue about the verses in the Bible, the Messiah, and etc., son of Joseph, son of David. So let's join these debates, send our wisest and smartest scholars. Every time they went, they came back humiliated, utterly humiliated, because their religion was extremely made up by illiterate warlords who were just interested in sex and money and didn't even know how to read. And they tried to rewrite back history, but everyone was talking about, like, what are you talking? Yeah, in our Quran here, you can see they're talking about Jesus. Jesus was also a Muslim. And then they come, and some, Catholic priest will just pull a heavy old scroll from before even Islam invented. And we'll say, what do you mean? There's no mentioning here of Muhammad. You're talking nonsense. And then a Jewish person will come and tell you, what are you talking about? Here's our Bible. That's original. It's been in my family for 500 years. There's no mentioning of your prophet here. And they were literally humiliated. So then they went back and they closed the religion and said, from now on, you're not even allowed to debate and argue about the authenticity of this Quran. And by that, sealing themselves to a never-ending bloodlust circle of death, violent corruption, and ignorance. They literally were unable. And that's why everywhere that Islam takes over, it actually sends them back to the Stone Age, while all the rest of the nations are progressing and reaching the moon, soon reaching Mars. If Islam takes over, they will just destroy history and start plucking down bricks from the floor of the streets, because these bricks were built by the Romans and they were pagans, So Abraham Accord doesn't really have a lot of hope for real stability, but it's better than what is happening now. That was my 5 cents about Abraham Accord. No one is asking questions and answers in the new YouTube feature. Are you guys even seeing it? Let's end the poll. Here, poll ended. Maybe now you can see the questions. Let's see if there's more questions here. I'll try to answer before I jump on making you guys videos. Someone asked if he's gay. I don't know. I don't know, man. Not so sure. I am kuffar. Yeah, you're probably a kuffar just like me and anyone here that is not Muslim. Clicked ask something, then the bottom appears in the chat window, submit, and it disappears. So I guess it gets directly. Oh. Where does it get directly to? That is interesting. Maybe I do end questions and answers. This will remove all questions. No. I don't want to. Well, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to learn this feature. All right. Let's see questions here. Too bad most Muslims aren't like me. Fair enough. Good for you. Mansour is spitting facts here about Islam. Amen, brother. Anyone have asked you a question there? Yeah, sorry guys. I tricked you. I didn't mean to. I thought I'll be able to see the questions. But I'm not. Nope, I'm not able to see them, so you might need to ask them again outside. I tried a new YouTube feature where you put questions and answer. But any progress with the new ISIS in Syria? No progress. Actually, it's been heavily hidden under media coverage. So there was apparently an attempted assassination attempt on Ahmed al-Shara in his palace. Several high commanders died there. There was a suicide bombing on the road and shooting. That's what I'm getting, at least. And media coverage is completely silent about it. They don't want you to know that it's happening. It's very bizarre. But we're still trying to figure out why are they really covering for that. I guess it was a serious ban by the United States. Maybe CIA got involved and says, don't talk about this. We have an agenda with Syria and this is not helping. Is Iran next? I really hope. Can you look for a quick footage for us to cover off the raid? So I can actually show you a quick video. Let me show you a really cool video that is from the raid that they didn't show here. Here it is. Look at that. I don't know if that's AI. But can you see it? That's apparently, I don't know if that's AI, because the faces are not covered here. But there's also other videos showing the, here I'll show you. Wow, that's a crazy video. Here's another crazy video. Ooh, that's a crazy video too. And here is the air defense. That's a crazy video too. Here, let me show you these videos. So you see the helicopter shooting back? I guess that was when they were trying to shoot at it. Apparently, they were trying to use these kind of defense anti-aircraft. Look at that. So they think that this is gonna protect them from America? Seriously? Like literally, this is just easy targets. This is just easy targets for America. Come and shoot these targets. Like you should hide all your weapons. You have no way of fighting against the United States. Like this is such a waste of your military and life. You should not do that. Here's another video. Crazy one. No, not this one. This one. What's this? That's the helicopters apparently flying. Some of them at least. I don't know if that's from the American base or from there. Probably from that, well, maybe above. And here's another crazy one. Wow, that's a total war zone. Here, I'll show you a few interesting videos, guys. Here, let me give you a few interesting ones. Watch this. This is a total war. Wow. What is going on? They just got their Tusik handed to them by the U.S. Air Force and Special Forces. Wow. Mamma mia.
Señores, bombardeo Miraflores. Son las... ¿Qué hora es? Dime la hora. Dime la hora.
Son las 2 de la madrugada.
2 de la madrugada. Fuertes explosiones aquí en Miraflores.
That's one of the amazing things about the West. When they attack, they try to minimize civilian casualties, you know, in contrary to Islamic regimes or communist regimes. So, you know, it's different. It's different. Here's another interesting video that is spoken by the lady in the opposition
on Swedish radio.
So this is the one that Trump said that she will not get to run this government. He said, you know, she's a nice lady, but she's not respected enough and she doesn't have the right power. She might not be happy to hear that, but this was the official candidate to replace. And now Trump said no. Trump, probably Rubio, is going to be instead. But listen to what she said.
Yesterday, the US seized a ship outside the coast of Venezuela. Would you welcome a US military intervention in Venezuela?
Look, some people talk about invasion in Venezuela, the threat of an invasion in Venezuela, and I answered, Venezuela has been already invaded. We have the Russian agents, we have the Iranian agents, we have terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, Hamas, operating freely in accordance with the regime.
Mm-hmm. And you want to hear, we can finish with that, this is a very fascinating break of what might be happening behind the scenes that many people are missing. I don't 100% agree with everything that he said, but he is pointing out very interesting points that are worth noting. So watch it. It's a short one. Watch until the end.
issue is both a crucial test of paper tiger quality on the part of all the great powers now, China, Russia, and the United States. China knows very well that the fentanyl excuse to stop the alleged fentanyl trade into the United States is used by Trump to mobilize for war against Venezuela, where China is the largest of them international investors. If China and Russia let the US make a regime change, just kill President Maduro and destroy the Venezuelan government and replace it with Mrs. Machado or something else, what's the credibility of the two of the three powers in BRICS to assist anyone, even themselves? That's the paper tiger aspect. If it's the case that neither China nor Russia can deter, nor BRICS, Brazil, India, and the others, Iran, can deter the United States from invading Venezuela and destroying its sovereign government, if they can't, then BRICS is a paper tiger too.
Very, very interesting, right? Very interesting to see the whole game playing behind the scenes, showing America, showing Russia, showing China, showing Iran, showing these guys, the joint BRICS that were threatening the American, dominance over the world and the American currency and dollar. Because an attack on the dollar is like a physical attack on the United States. It will undoubtedly lead to bloodshed in the street. There's never been a change of empires without a catastrophic bloodshed. And if back in the day, the bloodshed might have been contained regionally and a lot of people dying in the battlefield, and later on you hear the news and you get imposed some kind of sanctions and different way of life. Today we got nuclear weapons. Today you got serious ballistic missiles. Today the consequences of war have become drastically so much worse. I remember through my time in the special forces seeing the evolution of warfare. I used to always kind of envy the days of the samurais and the days of the Spartans and the warriors, where it was your grit, where a 12 years old had barely any chance of defeating a 25, 27 year, 30 years old, veteran soldier. It was almost impossible for him to defeat him. You need to really surprise him with a big great axe on his head when he's sleeping, and then you can defeat him. But today, like in the favela in Brazil, you can have a 12 years old just running and shooting, and Navy SEALs just kills him immediately. So add to that Apache helicopters, add to that AI and drones. So the element of becoming a competent man or woman that can defend yourself have become almost zero. You just need to be on the right side. You can be the best fighter in the world, but you will be on the wrong side and you will just die like a rat. You'll just die like this, like in humiliating, like meaningless death, like that no one would even know that you were a great fighter and that you had a chance. And maybe back in the medieval days, you'll be a warlord wielding a great axe in the battlefield and everybody would respect you for your skill. So today warfare became so, and why am I saying that, have become so gruesome, so asymmetric, so leaves you so hopeless as an innocent civilian, as a citizen. There's so many ways that you can get killed without you being able to protect you or your family. I'm not doing that to scare people. I'm just telling you the reality. Don't hate the messenger. It's just the bad news. So the change of regime, the change of powers will lead to inevitable, very, very serious bloodbath. So that's why it is important for people in the West to hope that America stays strong, the Team West stay with the upper hand on technology, on AI, on military technology, on economy, and etc. Because if it falls to the hand of Russia or China, there will be a serious uprising and serious conflict. And I only hope that Russia and China would realize right now America's still in the game. They're not Biden anymore. It's not Obama. They're still in the game, and they're still the strongest, most important nation in the world. And maybe they should join sides with them rather than try to be the enemy and topple them. Because so far, they've been freely going around trying to topple America and harm America and dig under America's feet and trying to steal allies and resources from America. Remember during the time of Biden when there was a Chinese spy, basically air balloon flying over the US? Like, do you remember that? They would not dare do that now. They won't even dare to do something like that now because there's someone else in the White House. America is going back to its original power and respect. We don't mess with America. So that stability, I hope would lead China and Russia and other countries to say, let's stop fighting with them. Let's stop trying to invade Ukraine. Let's stop trying to invade. Let's be together. Let's help together create some kind of a world stable economy and prosperity where we can all put all of our sources together on colonizing the moon. That's a place to colonize. Try to colonize the moon and try to colonize Mars. Let's bring humans to become intergalactic species going and conquering space. I bet you that there's not a single amoeba that might be frozen under a rock in Mars that will say, oh my God, why did you come and steal my land? Seriously. So if we can put our brains as humanity to start focusing on a bigger goal, and I don't mind if America will be the leading country for that. I don't care. It's a good country. I love America compared to other countries. Trust me, it's a very good country. So that's the only way. But this can happen only by being successful and being the strongest and opening your arms for others. If you want to join me, join in. If you don't, get out of my way. Because if the evil ones take that, then we are in serious trouble. And with that, I've said my piece and I got to run now and do other stuff. It's my last day alone, home alone, because my kid is coming back tomorrow from his relatives. He's been snowboarding and throwing snowballs at his grandparents and his relatives somewhere in the mountains in Germany. And I had time to watch Rick and Morty. So now I'm going to have to finish and clean the house and do everything I can before he comes back. And hopefully keep making you videos. I will do my best to keep reporting live on what's happening in Iran, in Israel, in Venezuela, and everywhere around the Middle East on live shows and on videos. I want to remind everyone who came and watched the show, if you want to support this channel, go and check my Patreon. You can find a practical, direct financial way to support the work that I'm doing. It can start from $3 a month, which is the price of latte macchiato, or fluffy vanilla soy milk, whatever you can buy in Starbucks once a month for content creator like us that is compiling into becoming our bread and butter and our salaries. Also do the like, share, subscribe, click the bell if you want to get notified for more videos. It will not hack your system. It's not a Mossad spy trick. It's a YouTube thing. When you click the bell, you get notified. Ding, this guy have just made a video. You can even put it on silence if you don't want, but it will give you notification. So that will help the channel to keep grow. But until then, guys, stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. In general, don't try to be a dictator in a drug cartel in Venezuela. Obviously, it doesn't work good for you. Stay safe. See you next time.